So today you're going to find out how to find opportunity in volatility and some of the altcoins that are trending, whether we are macro bullish or bearish on Bitcoin. And what are, that's our bias on Bitcoin's price direction over the next few months to about a year, right? That would be our macro bias. Medium term time frames, that's what to expect over the next 1 to 5 days, and short term, which is over the next 1 to 4 hours in price action. And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors. My name is Chris. I am bringing it to you here from a dark and rainy Westlake Village, California. And I do want to say out there to anybody listening that I just hope you have an amazing day, an amazing month, and a great new year. And with that said, yesterday I said we would discuss the crash and everything that happened. There was a leveraged washout. And now everybody on the interweb seems to be saying, hey, it's up only now, Bitcoin to the moon for the rest of the year. We're going to have a Santa Claus rally. And however, I am not quite convinced yet, as Bitcoin has not been able to break the range here. And I will pull Bitcoin up in the background here. When I started taking my notes here, Bitcoin had not been able to break the hourly range, which we just did here on the last closure about 20 or 19 minutes ago. But that is the range in hourly to the downside was 49,000 to the upside, call it 52,000, a break of that range. And I'm expecting a quick move down to 47,300, probably with a small bounce. And then, my overall bias is continuation, but that's the major range right there is, what was 52,000 to the upside, 48.8 to the downside, and it looks like we just got the break. And, I would say really the macro range is more like this, 47 to 51, or if you want to extend it down a little bit, 47 to 51. And that's kind of our 12-hour and daily range. So Bitcoin's got to crack back really above 54,000 on a daily, and I'll, convert my bias from bearish to bullish real quick. Or to the downside, I'd say 47,000 to the downside on a daily, and that probably gives us our next move down, which, that's where we're talking about finding opportunity in volatility. So what kind of move is that going to produce, to the downside from here? Right, that's a 3% move. But if we want to come down and test the bottom side of this massive ascending triangle, which we've been going over the past couple of days, that's anywhere between 8 and 10% to the downside from where we're at today. But from the bottom to the next top, which I imagine we'd at least get a bounce to the top side of the range at 54,000, right? And that would be on our kind of short-term, medium-term time frame. So let me redraw that out. So from our, let's say we take a long at 42,000 or 43,000 right here. The bounce to the next high at 54,000. And again, that's our lower high watch on the daily time frame. That's a 25% bounce. And more importantly, why do I think that might be a good buying opportunity for a long-term, macro trade is really on our weekly. And I'll pull it up on our Bitcoin CME futures chart, which we've been covering over the past few days. So that would be right in line with a bounce at 43,100 on CME, that green 55-day exponential moving average. And what you'll see here is CME never touched the green 55. However, on spot price action, we already did have that touch. So again, we did say over the past couple of days on the daily time frame, if we did get a bounce up to the 618 Fibonacci retracement, and we showed any sign of weakness there, right, that was a good indicator that, hey, bull trap, right? So the 618 is your classic bull trap region, and any kind of weakness right there, especially alongside stock market making new all-time highs, or actually retesting the highs yesterday. And why do we kind of look at that? The stock market is highly correlated with, especially the NASDAQ, the tech sector, highly correlated with Bitcoin. And we did say yesterday we were, based on that 4-hour closure above 16,000, we were looking at a move back to the high side of the range and test the highs and probably sell off, and that's what we're getting right now. And could that sell-off result in a move back down to about 16,000? And could that correlate with Bitcoin coming back down? I think that would be highly likely. And I would say if NASDAQ wants to come back down, test this region, and gets a daily or even a, let's see, probably a 4-hour back below 16,000. And yep, I would say reversal, bull trap, and down to doggy town for the stock market, and that would not bear good for Bitcoin. But I personally don't think that's what's happening here. I think we probably get a slight pullback, right? We come test the bottom side of the range, and then Jerome Powell says, hey, we're going to print some more money, and we're going to lower rates. We're going to make everything free and keep the liquidity going, because that's what this is, a giant liquidity bubble. And crypto and stocks love liquidity, love lots of free money in the market. So how do we find opportunity and volatility? Well, that's with Bitcoin. Everybody wants to take a look at Ethereum, and Ethereum's been holding this daily range, kind of going back to November of 2020, over the last month, right? And that is going to be 4,600 to the upside, and I would say 3,900 to the downside. Geez, I think you could probably move that up slightly. I'd leave it around that bottom side Challenger band, right? If you really wanted to look for big, bad, nasty moves on Ethereum back down to 3,300 to 3,500, I'd assume if we break that on the daily range, we get a move back down that way. However, I am overall macro bullish on this one. You can even see here, we got the higher lows on the daily, higher highs. And I mean, we do have our first lower high, and we did have a lower low there. So hey, it's kind of in Bitcoin land, and it's going to do whatever Bitcoin does. And I am still macro bullish on Bitcoin. And back onto that, what we were mentioning here, this is a massive ascending triangle, and we've been cooking this one for quite some time. And on a weekly time frame, that's our most powerful time frame. If we could get a weekly closure back above 66,000, I'm going to look for new targets. Next target at 79, and then 100,000. But what needs to happen? A lot of work first, and I imagine, again, this takes some time for Bitcoin to dig itself out here, maybe over the next few weeks or month. We put in a bounce, a macro low, and then, we're going to be looking out for lower highs on the weekly. That would not be good, anywhere around 56,000. So we still are maintaining the uptrend on the macro. That's higher lows and higher highs. Next stop is a new higher high above 66,000. And could that come in probably the next quarter or first quarter of next year? I would guess probably somewhere around there, because these triangles like to break at 75% full. And where is that? Around February, I would say, somewhere between February and March, or maybe even sooner, January, right? Somewhere in that range. We get a break of that range, and Bitcoin is going to really start moving. What would be the measure move off of this ascending triangle? So if you're macro bullish on Bitcoin and you believe long-term Bitcoin is going to ultimately head higher, absolutely. I think this would be an excellent macro buying opportunity. Why? Well, the high on Bitcoin was 69,000. If you could pick it up at 42, that's almost a 50% discount from the high. And buying the dips in Bitcoin, if you go and back test this, especially after Green 55, the average increase off of, if you bought the dip is, that was about 70%. I think if you go back and test it, the average increase is over 100%, because you can see that rally didn't end at 52,000. It ended at 60,000. So moving on to our altcoins. And again, why do we want to know where Bitcoin's price is going? Well, it's the most influential asset in human history. It is slowly eating away traditional financial assets. And whatever Bitcoin does, altcoins are going to do more. That's the general rule of thumb. And the stronger altcoins, right, they tend to outperform Bitcoin to the upside. However, to the downside, not always the same, to be fair. And what are altcoins, right? It's anything that's not Bitcoin. And so what do I typically do is I use Bitcoin as a thermometer for the entire crypto market. So starting out with the underlying market dynamics, which we discussed, and have been talking about over the past few weeks. Here's the Bitcoin dominance coming in at 40%. And we did get that leg down back to what we were postulating a macro low. And I think that would align with, some kind of a bounce here. And Bitcoin dominance goes up, not usually good for altcoins unless you're a stronger altcoin. Bitcoin dominance at 40%. I noticed this morning, the total market cap on crypto is 2.2 trillion. So 2.2 trillion, and look at total market cap coming down, on the weekly. We do want to hold that. Otherwise, that's not going to look too good. And, if the whole market cap goes down to the green 55, that's going to shave off quite a bit from the market here. But so total market cap is 2.2 trillion. Bitcoin is 40% of that, which is roughly, I think it's around $1.3 trillion. So that's how much money is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin has become a $1 trillion market cap faster than Apple, Microsoft, and Google. So fear and greed index, what else coming in here? Fear and greed index coming in at 29, ticking up slightly from yesterday. And what we did say is, look, what we noticed, macro lows get put in as fear and greed index gets into the extremely fearful zone between, I'd say, 20 and 10%, or I don't know how, the gauge gets down here and stays down here for a few weeks, right? We want to get everybody a little more fearful. And then open interest, that's positions being put on long and short futures contracts, leveraged positions, basically all the bets on the books. And we're currently sitting at about 11 billion, which 11 billion, that's a slight tick up from the past few days at 10 billion. And to give you an idea, in May of 2021, which if you go back to May of 2021, Bitcoin was at 57,000. We just put in, our first, that's a first lower high on the weekly, but on the day, it's easier to see on the weekly. Anyways, Bitcoin is May of 2021, open interest was at 15 billion. And what happened? Leverage washout, Bitcoin goes from, the high here was 64,000 down to 29.8. So pretty massive move, and the leverage got washed out. Now open interest fell from 15 billion to 5 billion, and that's while Bitcoin fell from 64 to 30,000. In relationship to today, what just happened? Open interest fell from 15 billion to 10 billion, right? And that's on the drop here. And so could we get a little more washout, right? Could we shave off a little bit more? Because open interest at the peak of the market here was at 16 billion, just over 16 billion. It was the highest we had ever had open interest. And the general rule of thumb is, the more interest, the bigger the move. The higher the leverage, the bigger the move. And that's the next thing. Global leverage ratios, which measured the leverage in people's, how much leverage people are using. You can get 5x, 10x, 30x. And global leverage ratios just ticked up slightly, still at all-time highs. So I think, we could get a little more washing out. So back to Bitcoin's price, and we got the same exact thing here. Again, on the hourly, I'll just bring this back up, closing up today. And we did say, look, hourly closure below 48.9, and we're going to get a quick move down to 47.2. That's on spot price. How's it look on CMEs? Yeah, look at CMEs. I'm gauging the move. First stop down there, the bottom side Bollinger Band. It likes to play off these, especially when you close, below the bottom side Bollinger Band. And what do you have? Volatility expanding. You're going to have Stokes pointing down. So volatility going up, momentum's going down, and you got the lower highs. So definitely, at least coming down to 47. And look, if stock market wants to get back going down a little bit here, which I would not mind at all, move back down. Yeah, we could get that swipe of the lows. I might get my orders filled, and this could be the day for me. But what else are we looking at? Yep. trending altcoins, that's what we wanted to talk about. And I'd say the first one I'm going to bring to our attention is Matic. And the reason we've been talking about it a couple days. Today they have a major event. I'm not sure exactly what the event is. I think it has something to do with ZK rollups and some kind of partnership. But we have been following this one for a while here, and on the 5-day, we did get a confirmation of a macro breakout here, right? So the massive ascending triangle, very similar to what Bitcoin looks like. And typically stronger altcoins like to lead the party. And the measure move on this guy right here is going to be, boom, up to the all-time high, right? So right in line there. But, and that's $2.82, right? But typically these events are a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news, buy the rumor, sell the news. If this was a really hyped up event and people were just buying up because of the hype, yeah, just like Dogecoin and Elon Musk on Tesla News or on Saturday Night Live, right? That was a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. Typically like the halving is, typically like any mega event, especially if there's a bunch of new people following it, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? But typically the first test up into that, the 1618, sells off, and we come back and touch, we come back and test out the support, right? And what does that look like? Oh, $1.95 easily, right? If you look on a daily would be at about $2 or, yep, $1.95, right? Easily could come back down. And with these huge wicks the past couple of days, this thing could come down quite a bit, right? Especially if it sells off because of a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. But other than that, if this thing wants to pick itself up and show itself strong and, hold the former trend, higher highs and higher lows, right? I expect the measure move to play out, and, invalidation would be coming with, I'd say, do I want to say at the top side of the range there? I don't know. To be conservative, I would say back, down below $1.78. I don't know if that's even helpful. And that, I would call that a failure. But why am I macro bullish on this thing? Again, a 5-day closed above, and the last one closed above the topside shoulder band. We did just get our higher high there, so that's relatively bullish, or that's not so nice. But we'll be watching this one towards the end of the week. If we get any kind of a weekly closure above the topside shoulder band, that will just, mean trend is in play. We've got the RSI in the bullish control zone there, and we've got Stokes that will cross up, I imagine, with any kind of a weekly closure above $2.39, and that would be good for momentum heading to the upside. One other so again, not the best opportunity right now. I would kind of just stay away from right now of that one, but be looking for dips if that's something on your hot list. But another one, Mana, Decentraland, again, looking for targets to come down somewhere 289 to 245, and that's alongside Bitcoin's price action coming down. Same thing with Sand. If we want to put this on a 4-hour, again, very very much in line with what Bitcoin did, right? We had the big wick down there, and if Bitcoin wants to go retest the lows and do what I think it's going to do, well, very, very likely these retest the lows, right? So Sand anywhere between 390 and 440, somewhere in that zone. And then what's another one that's been really hot? Luna, which is call the range between 66 and 70, and until we get any kind of a resolution outside of that range, and I'm talking a daily, preferably a daily, more aggressive trader would be on a 4-hour. I'd say a 4-hour needs to close above 78, but any kind of a daily closure back above 75, I'm looking for continuation, and or the next fib target be, let's take a look. That was a big wick down there. And looking for targets heading up to about $95. So any kind of a daily closure, above 80. Yeah, I'd say continuation up to $95. But buying opportunity, right? If Bitcoin comes down, would I be surprised if this one at least wants to come back down and test the base at 54? So look, how much downside risk? And that's what you have to ask yourself. How much are you willing to, lose to the downside? And then major buying opportunity at 40. I mean, this thing's been so volatile. You could get a huge wick, especially if Bitcoin comes down. But the green 55 on the daily looks nice. And, even the yellow 21 on the weekly could always get hit. But overall, looks like an uptrend to me. I mean, look at this thing on log scale. Yeah, you can't even see it on log scale. It hasn't been around, but that's pretty much straight up, right? So when you get a rally from January 21, 4,200%, I think we all should have been keeping a close eye on this one. And with that, I'll be leaving you guys off, wishing you the best, a wonderful day, a happy and prosperous day. You guys are the best. Take care. Signing out.